Hello, this is the Artemis by Dreadbox. It's a 6-voice analog synthesizer. It's beautiful. I love it. It has built-in effects, which are awesome, by Sine Vibes. And yes, I've been waiting for this thing since November when it was first announced, or when I first saw it. I had it pre-ordered since then, because it came out at the perfect time for me when I was trying to downsize my setup a lot, because I had the Vermona Performer, which is gigantic, but beautiful, but gigantic, and a couple of effects pedals, and I also had the Labyrinth, and it was getting too much, too big, too complicated. I didn't ever want to move it around, and I kind of got lost. So I just wanted like a nice machine that was like smaller with everything built in, and I couldn't really think of at the time what anything would have ticked those boxes for me. And then this was announced right then, and it has beautiful effects built in, 6 voices. It can get really crazy with sound design, like get really dirty, really filthy, and then be really pretty, and it's just a wonderful machine. So I've been waiting, and here it is. Let's go. Just clicking some presets here. As you can hear, the sound can go all sorts of places. So I'm going to be kind of going over this section by section as just a general overview video. It won't be a sound design video or anything like that. Probably will be a little underwhelming in the sound department, as I'm going to be focusing entirely on just the functionality. Beautiful. Like a soft little church in a Super Nintendo game or something. Love it. Let's just go to a default patch. So you can go through the presets by turning this, or you can push and turn to go by bank. You got up to H, and the first 3 banks, well, the first 2 are full completely to 64, so there's tons of nice presets to play with while you're learning it. And then the C is like up to like 30 or something. 38. Now we're into default. Yeah, so let's just go to an initialize patch. I have all the controls kind of in 0. Most of the controls do default to 0, but not all of them. Like the amp is not at 0, the filter envelope is not at 0, etc. Blah, blah, blah. But basically, it doesn't matter if these aren't in the right position, because this has a nice like catch feature where it'll scale where the knob is physically versus where the setting is in the preset, and it does it perfectly, better than any other synth I've used. But I won't get too much into that. But it's really nice. But we'll start off with the VCO section here. So this is very similar to the Dreadbox Typhon, but that was a monophonic machine. This is basically like 6 Typhons strapped together. It's not exactly like that, but you can kind of think of it like that, because a lot of people really love the Typhon. That's a great synth. So this is just like super Typhon almost. But it has this wave shaper, which they're well known for, which will blend smoothly between the different wave shapes. So right now we're only hearing VCO 1, because that's what a default patch will do. So I'll just put this to... so actually I'll show you right there. So this screen is very clear, very easy to read. So anytime you do anything, it'll show up here. It might be difficult to see in this video, but trust me, in real life you can see it very clearly and crisp. So anytime you touch anything, it'll show up there. So like by default, this is at 100% on the left, but I touch this and it shows 100% and 0. So even though we're at 50 here, it'll just be a 100% 0. If I move it to the right a bit, it'll start to slowly raise that as if it's being raised from here, but it uses this as the start point. And then if I put it back down, it'll go lower again, but it kind of scales it so it won't be back to 100 until it's all the way to the left. So anytime you go in a direction, it will scale where the setting is versus where the knob physically is. So like if it's already at 0 and you turn it to the left, it won't change at all, and it'll stay there all the way until you get to the physical point, and then it'll be locked in step. It works very, very well. But that's enough about that. Now to the actual synthesizer. So now we're hearing both, because this is the blend, and it's at half, which is 50 and 50, VCO 1 and 2. So now we can hear both waves as they shape through the different shapes. So it's VCO 1 on the outer ring, VCO 2 on the inner. So VCO 1 will go from a saw, and then it'll stay a square for the next 3 steps, and then it'll end up at a triangle, whereas VCO 2 will be a saw, and then a saw again, and then a square, and then 2 triangles. And I'm just, so this is routed through my Digitone and Digitact just for audio, but there's no effects or compressing or anything. It's just straight audio through, because that's just how my routing is. And so that is that, and then you also have a control for sub or noise, which you can add in. So add a sub oscillator, and now you got nice thick deep sound. Or you can make it noise instead. There's no options to shape the noise into different kinds, but it becomes very useful mixed in with many of the other options as well. So that is that, and then you have a tuner for VCO2. So that it defaults to 0, which is in the middle. So right now we're at the bottom. So you can see it will raise it to 1 and 2 and 3, which is actually above this. But if I put it back down to 0, now we're at -24, which is the bottom. It goes in semitones, which is beautiful. It makes it very easy to tune to musical interludes that you would like. 7 semitones. And then, like, if you're like, oh, but I don't want it to be locked to semitones. Well, you got a detune here, so relax. And now you can get that nice thick sound, or that horrible swarm. Let's get somewhere nice and stop torturing you. Beautiful. That's just a single button press. That's not a chord. That's just VCO 1 and 2 and the sub. And then the detune in there. Beautiful. Let's hear a chord. Let's put this Digitone on chord mode. Let's jump to the spread section so this is more impactful. Oops, gonna put on some reverb. See how easily I just made this amazing sound? Let's just get back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. And actually, no, we'll leave a bit of detune on. Let's leave that where that is. And yeah, so moving on, we did the detune controls. We also got a glide. Beautiful, right? It's polyphonic glide. So all 6 of your notes, that's the best playing you've ever heard on any of the demos, I'm sure, will all glide, which is fantastico. I just went to Italy, so I'm fluent in Italian now. And this can also be controlled with legato, which I'll show you later in the menu thing if I don't forget. But yeah, that is nice. Then we got a pulse width control, which will squash them squares, beautiful, into oblivion, actually. So if you put it all the way to, so they're both squares now, I'll get rid of that sub so that we're not hearing anything else. Let's squash it. Squash it. Oh my god, it's gone. You can barely hear just a whisper back there if you got nice headphones. Wouldn't it be cool if we could modulate that? Oops. Wow! Jumped ahead. Yeah, so pulse width works on squares exclusively. But it's very nice. And we got an FM control. It's through 0 FM, which, look it up, but it basically makes the FM sound good all the time. So I think it's like every time that it hits 0 on the waveform, it'll like sync reset. But it just makes it a lot more usable. You don't get as insane tones, but trust me, you can get real insane here, especially once you start combining things. Like this will affect this, will affect this, will affect that. But basically, like, it adds a really nice, like, kind of harshness to things. And then you can also make it controlled by an envelope. Envelope control or not. That's pretty straightforward. You know what an envelope is, probably. If not, then you need to watch some more videos before you watch this. Then we got a sync control for hard sync. This is nice. It's a nice effect to have. So it's more noticeable if the VCO2 is tuned higher. I'm doing something weird here. Hard sync will make FM insane. You were worried that FM wasn't weird enough before? Oh my god. Okay, calm down. Okay, let's get back. Let's get back. Relax. Turn that off. I just love that this tuner is in semitones. That makes my world a better place. And it's usually pretty good. Like, how easily I went to 0. There's kind of like a wiggle room where, like, you know, it might be slightly above the line or slightly below and it still catches 0, which is nice, useful. So that's basically it for this whole section here. Then let's, I guess, skip to the filter. So filter. Woo. Goes. So defaults to a 24 dB or 4-pole filter. And you can optionally change it to a 12 dB or 2-pole for a smoother. Let's get lower, it sounds better. Let's also get to saws. We know the deal. There we go. So this is 12 dB mode. Nice smooth little fading off into the distance. I wish you'd shut up, Jesse. I'm trying to listen to the filter. Well, too bad. This is my video. Alright, then we got 24 dB. A little more sharp. You can hear it all better when you crank that resonance. Beautiful. And then we got ourselves classic filter tracking. Yeah, right now the filter is also modulated by the envelope. So filter tracking, you can have it when it's blinking, it's at 50% tracking. And when it's at solid, then it's 100% tracking. So when it's at high tracking, then at high tracking, you can play the filter like an oscillator. Turn off the envelope control. Tune it with the frequency there. Very cool. Oh, yeah. So that is nice. And then we got a separate high-pass filter, which comes after the main filter. So you can add a nice high pass and basically have a band pass by having some low pass and then some high. But then you got two peaks, because you got a separate resonance control for the high pass and the low pass. Beautiful. And then the low pass can be tracked. Very nice. Love it. So then we also got the envelope amount. Oh yeah. So yeah, it defaults to 50 depth for the envelope filter tracking. So if you don't want it, then when you start a new patch, make sure you slam that down to 0, and then it won't move with the envelope. Beautiful. Then one of my favorite things on this is the filter FM, which can get pretty crazy. So now we're modulating the filter frequency with FM, which already sounds awesome. But then you can also add tracking, which will just add more craziness to it, but then add some resonance. Oh my god! Sweet baby Jesus. Whoosh! Not enough. More. This is no distortion or anything. Let's put some distortion. This is a beautiful song you can dance to, let's say. Remember when it used to sound nice? That was before I got it. And then you can also modulate that filter frequency with noise, which just adds some nice crunchiness when the resonance is low. Kind of like lo-fi filter effect, but then add the resonance. And we've entered hell. Beautiful. Okay. That is pretty much the filter section. So the envelopes, we have two envelopes. And so the first one controls the filter frequency, depending on how much this is. So if it's at 0, it doesn't do anything. And then it also affects the FM amount if you have this button turned on. If you have this button turned off and you have this at 0, this first envelope does nothing. Like, you can do whatever you want and it won't change anything. So that is how that first one works. And then if you press this, now you're controlling the VCA envelope. So that it starts out with a little bit of attack, but not much. And now we're controlling the basic sound coming in. This isn't going to explain what an envelope is. You know what an envelope is. It has pretty long attack. How long is the release? Actually never tested. Not too bad. Not insanely long, but it does the job. So if toggling between the envelopes seems annoying to you, which it shouldn't, it's not that hard, and press one button, you can actually just hold it and start blinking, and now you have one control for everything. It's shared decay envelope, and so this will affect the amp, and this if you have it on, and the FM amount if you have this on. So simplify things for yourself. Why not? Cool. So that is the thing you can do if you want to just have a more simple sound design thing going on. Cool. I think I did it earlier. It's hard to remember, but you also have above here, this is the master volume, yippee skippy. This is the spread, and this is one of the nicest features of this. Hope you're wearing headphones. So what this does, it'll get the 6 voices and spread them evenly across the field. So I think it's 1, 3, and 5 go to the left, and 2, 4, and 6 go to the right, or something like that. So you're not going to always want this, because like if you're playing single note things like monophonic stuff, then it might sound a bit weird if they're all over the place. But that might also be what you want. But that's just how that works. Even just a little spread adds a lot, similar to like a chorus effect, but without having the chorus on. Which, by the way, there's also chorus. But we'll get to that later. So that is that. And moving on to the LFO section here. We got 2 LFOs, and the first one controls the VCO pitch and the filter cutoff. So we have for the first one, we have a rate control and a fade in. So the rate, I mean, we'll turn on just to make it horrible. VCO pitch. Can get pretty fast. It's not quite like audio rate speeds, but it's quite fast. It's nice. Woo! Bonkers. Fade in will be how long it, ramps up the speed of the LFO. You can have just a nice subtle vibrato at lower settings, but then if you're like, oh, I don't want my whole sound to be wibbly, well, relax. So by default, it's controlling both VCO 1 and 2. Press it once, and now it's controlling VCO 1 only. So if you go to VCO 1, it's wibbling. VCO 2 is solid. So press it again, and it's VCO 2 instead. Yeah. So that is that. You get it. Filter. Frequency. Control. Could be nice. Add some resonance to really hear that. Tracking. Bonkers. Let's change the shape of that. I mean, not that this is going to sound good anyways, because this is not a good thing to do, but you can change the shape. So it starts off with sine. By the way, you press these buttons, and any of the ones that toggle through a bunch of things, you press it once and it'll show you what you're on, and then you press it again to change it. So we were on sine, and then press it again to go to triangle, and then saw. Let's turn that down a little bit. Much better. And then we got ramp, so it'll go up. Let's turn off the fade in so we're not getting confused here. Cool. And then we got a square. Square is always fun for sound design. I like fading in the square. Whoa! Cool. So enough of that. And then we got LFO2, which controls this wave knob and the pulse width as well. So with the wave knob, let's just make sure this is not going on. So I can hear it's rotating through the wave knob. Set the depth with this. The starting position will also affect the overall sound of the LFO. As it resets back to the home position of wherever you have it set. Change the wave shape of this as well. And then we got the pulse width. So, as you recall, the pulse width will squash to a flat when it gets to the peak. So, if you have this set up high, listen to that. You can make this nice rhythmic thing going on. Let's just, I'll show you just quickly the arpeggiator here. So this has a built-in arpeggiator. Let's turn that on. And, oh yeah, we gotta actually hit play, so. There we go. Forgot I was squashing. Yeah, I'll get back to that later, but maybe this will sound better for sound design stuff. You can also press this. While the arpeggiator is on, you can press the record, and it'll hold, so now you couldn't see my hand anyways, but I was holding buttons. Now I don't have to. Cool. So, continue toggling through the different shapes. Oh yeah, I actually didn't toggle through all the shapes before, but there's also a random. Which can be cool. And then there's also this envelope mode, which actually, let's stop this. So the envelope mode, I better show it off on this one, it's easier. So you have envelope plus and minus. So let's do it on pitch, because it's easier to hear. So it turns the LFO into a mini envelope that goes through one time. This will set the depth of how, so it's controlling pitch at high, that's how far it goes. Pretty cool. And then the fade in will be how long it takes to arc up and back down. And then the rate. I guess this is the attack and decay, basically. Sort of. Yeah, okay, so at like 0, this starts at the peak and just goes down. and then as you start adding, it goes up and then back down. And this is how wide that whole arc is. Cool. Okay, well, I mean, I guess I wasn't entirely sure when I started. But then there's also the negative, so you can toggle it again, and I'll do the opposite. You can do that on all the things as well. Cool. You're just doing one. What am I doing? Anyways, let's just get out of this nightmare that we've created, and I'll show you the cross mod. So now you can modulate the LFO1 with LFO2. It doesn't have any effect on LFO2 itself, so I can turn this and it's not going to do anything. But then turn that off, and then turn up LFO cross mod, and then let's do the pitch. The pitch here. Actually, no, let's do filter cutoff. So let's have the filter cutoff for LFO1 be fast, but then LFO2 be slow. You can hear the speeding up and slowing down. So you can get cool like ratcheting effects with this. Oops. Yeah, anyways, you get it. Controlling the speed of LFO2 with 1. So as LFO2 gets higher or lower, it'll make LFO1 go faster or slower. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You can get lots of complicated stuff depending on the shapes of each of those things. Blah, blah, blah. So that is the LFO section. Oh, you know what? No, I missed one thing. You can also sync. So the sync button here will, so default, it is going to be free running. So the LFOs will just kind of do their thing, but then you can toggle to key. So then the LFOs will start each key press for that effect if you want the sound LFO to start every time you press a key. Then you got, I guess I should actually have LFOs on to be demonstrating that. And then you can also put it on BPM, which is a sync with the external clock. So this is being controlled by MIDI through the Digitone, which is set to 120 BPM. So it'll now change these rate knobs to go into divisions of the incoming clock to maintain sync in that regard for both. Cool. And then you also got a key BPM, so it'll also be in sync, but starts for each key individually. And that is that section. Alrighty, Roo. So we have arrived at the part where I'm going to go over some effects, but I'm not going to go super deep into it because there's a lot of effects, and I think that kind of warrants its own video, so I'll probably do that later. So I'm just going to quickly go over. So this section has your distortion, modulation, delay, and reverb, and these controls will change depending on which button is lit up. And there's also the sequencer here. So the sequencer, which I will not be going into in this video. So we got the reverb here. So now the reverb button's lit up, means that these controls are now for these sliders here. So we got a small, large, huge, cloud, and shimmer. Even the small can get pretty big, but it can also get pretty small. You got feedback controls. Even at max feedback, it doesn't get like super, super loud and awful and unusable, so you can kind of like use it as a nice reverb bed, which is my favorite thing to do. And you can dampen it with high or low pass filter stuff. You got pre-delay, etc. So the large one can get pretty large. Nice. Huge is a bigger large. But it's also a bit different because it also has speed of modulation kind of in the sound. We got cloud, which is nice. It's got little granules that can be like negative or reverse or forward. You can tune those granules, make them longer or shorter. Very nice. And then the shimmer. You can tune the shimmer. Beautiful. I know I said I wasn't going to go over them, and I just went kind of through all of them, but whatever. Turn off the reverb so you can hear the delay. So we got a stereo delay. So the one thing, I think that there's no way to synchronize the delay with BPM, which I kind of hope that they add eventually, but you can just manually do it. So, but the stereo one has, you can have different speeds for the left and right channels, which is really cool. So like really fast in the right there, and then left is slow. Really cool, really cool. It does that cool warpy thing when you change the speed while it's still going. Ping pong. Classic ping pong, left, right, or you can make it right, left, if you're really picky about which direction is first for some reason. You got a bucket BBD delay. Anyways, it's kind of like a more lo-fi delay, which is nice. Random repeater is cool. A little touch of kind of like microcosmy stuff here. Stereo. We're back at stereo, right? Yeah, so those are the delays. And then we got chorus. I'll turn off the spread so you can hear just the chorus. So this is without, and then let's maybe make this less crazy. Pretty nice chorus. You got your speed controls, your depth, your feedback. Woo! Width. See, that's what I mean. Like, these effects aren't afraid to get crazy. Like at the high settings, they're like insane, which is very nice. They have those options. Ensemble is a multi-voice chorus for the even bigger sound, and then like add in the spread too, and then the reverb. It's just nice how big these sounds can get. You got like a tape chorus for that warble. Bucket Brigade chorus, which is another nice lo-fi. Flanger, Bucket Brigade flanger. Honestly, I don't even know what TZ flanger is. Phaser, barber pole phaser, double notch, change those notch positions. Pitch shifter, so you can have left and right being different pitches. Crazy. Now we're back to chorus. And then distortion. We got so many distortion algorithms. So you got your mix, level, gain. Let's crank that, right? You got a bit crusher, which is kind of a nice bit crusher. It's pretty soft, but it works. And sample rate reduction. Hey kid, I'm a computer. There's a parabolic, sine clip. Some of them are pretty similar, but there's no description of the distortions in the manual, so it's just kind of like, just go through and find ones that sound good for your sound. They'll have different sweet spots depending on each of them. Soft clip, hard clip, tri-clip is cool. Arpeggiator back on. Woo. Yeah, you can definitely blow out some ears with the level knob if you're not careful. Then we got a tri-fold, which is also very cool. Single fold. What am I doing? I'm too high. There we go. Multi-fold. Am I making the soundtrack to the new Doom? That sounds sick. I got lost. Anyways, sine bend. Oh man. Lots of resonance and FM on the filter. Sorry if you like soft sounds. Maybe Find another channel. Sine shred, also very nice. I don't know if I'm gonna do a specific video on the different algorithms, to be honest. I don't know what else I have to say, but bin shred. Sim rap. Just doing a whatever now. Cool. That's pretty much it. Yeah, so you got an arpeggiator, which has different directions. Up. Let's get rid of some of this for you. So you got your up, down. Then there's the order that is pressed, and then you can have it go up, down, but press the highest note twice, or you can have it on exclude. It'll go up and down without doing this highest note twice. And then there's random. I don't know why I'm on such a fast setting. You got a probability, so you can have it just kind of randomly, and again you can press this, and now I'm not pressing anything and it's just going. And now yeah, it'll randomly drop out notes. You can change the swing of the arpeggio. It's actually a pretty nice arpeggio. I really like that you can just kind of turn this on, so if I have a sequence going on, the main thing, I can turn this on and then like kind of arpeggiate the sequence just for some variety. There's also a sequencer built in, which I will not be going into because A, I haven't tested it, and B, it's not something I'll use because I sequence externally, but you can go up to 64 steps and change things like probability and whatever for a sequence and go through step by step and like program in steps if you like. I would read the manual for that because I probably won't be using it. Save things with the save button. Wow. Menu. So we got poly mode. You can go in try mode, which so try will play two voices per key pressed, and so you have basically 3-note polyphony. And then there is duo mode, which will do 3 notes at a time for 2-note polyphony. Then we got unison mode, play all 6 notes all 6 voices at once. And then the detune slider becomes master unison. Spread. I also got mono. Turn on spread for that. For a mono. Beautiful. You also got this built-in drive in the menu, so this changes. These options above the line here are per preset, so you can change all these. So this has a drive which starts off default low. If you turn it off, that's what it sounds like. But you got a mid and a high, which all that stuff I was doing, that wasn't even with high drive. The drive sounds very nice in this. It's not too harsh, but it adds a good bite. You got legato mode, which you can turn. So to change these, you just hit it and click in, and then turn it, and then click in again. Then you got the glide control can be either on or auto, which auto is going to be a legato glide, so it'll only glide if there's another note being held at the time. If you press individual notes, they won't glide. Whereas when it's on, it'll always glide. Off, no, there's no off, because otherwise you just turn this down. Yes, preset level, you can change the preset level, you know, amp velocity, you got all these controls for velocity and stuff. Modwheel is a fun thing because, so you go here and click it in and add, and so I can add 100% mod wheel for glide, and then say FM 100%, and then say distortion at 100, and then reverb at 100, and other things that are less horrible that you can do. So while it's on add, anytime you touch and set a control, it will be putting that into mod. And then so now I have those, and then down here you don't have to see it, but on my Digitone, I have the MIDI page with the Modwheel control, and I can just turn the Modwheel and it'll turn up all the things that I set with one control. Really cool. Lots of good options, and to be able to like control a ton of stuff with one knob, very cool. And then yeah, if you want to clear it, then you just go to Modwheel, clear, and then click it, and now all of them are gone. And you can select your channels and your clocks and blah blah blah, and that is that. So this is the Artemis. This ended up being longer than I wanted, but yeah, I just love this machine, and I hope that it really catches on, because I think this is a really special machine. And even though I didn't really show anything off cool in this video, well, some things are cool, sure. This is a machine that should not be passed up if you're looking for a poly analog synth. I think this should always be in the conversation. And for me, I can't think of anything that does what it does better. And that's that. Thank you for watching, if you watched this far. And if you didn't watch this far, then I guess you missed out on the thank you part. But appreciate it, and yeah, go make some music. And if you like an Artemis, there's like a link down below for that if you want to get one on Sweetwater. It's a, affiliate link type thing, but if you want to buy it somewhere else, then do that as well. I just want more people with this machine. Anyways, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, and goodbye.